A little over a week ago, I published this video about the 3 new Bilt 2.0 credit cards. Looking over that video again, it was basically a really hypey intro and a really hypey outro with a bunch of just going over the facts in the middle. The reason for all the hype? Well, I was thinking with my emotions and not my head. But if you were to ask, is there value in the new Bilt 2.0 program, my answer would still be yes, but only for certain types of people, where others are going to lose out pretty big. And we'll get into that. But this video is my response video, both to myself, meaning my first video, and to Bilt. So let's get to talking, primarily focusing on all the major problems and red flags that I see with the new program. And I'd like to begin with something that is kind of personal to me. I simply can't keep up with the Bilt program. For any of you who saw my review video back from 2023, this was actually an unbelievable project for me after I published the video. That's because if you were to pull it up right now today and expand the pinned comment, I have more updates on this video than any other video I've published in my 5-year history. And what you're looking at right now is not even all of them. For the past couple of years or so, there have been so many changes to the Bilt program, some for good, some not for good, but I just can't keep up with all these changes all the time. Once you publish a video on YouTube, it's just there. Every time there's a change, it requires an entirely new video to be made, which means a whole production flow. And that means hours of work. In fact, keeping up with the Bilt cards and the broader Bilt program would almost require me to have a whole separate channel just dedicated to Mark Reese and his Bilt credit card. And believe it or not, I actually do have a life, as small as it may be right now, outside of YouTube. Now, looking over the 3 new card options that we have to choose from and their welcome offers. Well, really there's only one real welcome offer that's worth getting, at least to my eyes. The options we have to choose from are the Bilt Blue, Obsidian, and Palladium. The first 2 are basically just Bilt Cash in small amounts at that. Bilt Cash being their new currency, which I'll mention right after this in just a moment here. But in terms of a real juicy offer with great value here, the Palladium does have a strong one. 50,000 points plus gold status after meeting the spend requirement and $300 of Bilt Cash. Not including the additional Bilt Cash you get from other benefits, but that's just the welcome offer itself and it's quite compelling. But you just heard me mention Bilt Cash, and that leads me to the next problem. Now Bilt has 2 separate reward currencies with separate redemption options. We have points and we have cash. And when you look at how the rewards are issued to you, I've now outlined here in blue all the points related multipliers. So we're used to this type of thing with other cards. 1, 2, 3 points per dollar on certain types of categories, and that's it. It's a very simple structure. But now in green, you also see Bilt Cash. And that's also something that you earn alongside or with your points. They're not going to be some sort of substitute for each other. They live in harmony, or at least they're supposed to. So in terms of what you can do with these, well, per Bilt, the points are a variable value points type of reward designed for high value redemptions, like travel transfers outside of Bilt's ecosystem and long-term goals like paying down student loans. Whereas Bilt Cash is more for a simple, everyday type of redemptions. And speaking of options that are available for you to use your Bilt Cash, Bilt actually just released their first round or batch of the options that we have now at our disposal. So categories include dining and groceries, and let me walk you through just a couple of these briefly to show you how restricted they can be. It's not like you can go to your local grocery store or supermarket and just buy your groceries and get a statement credit for them. Look at this here, $120 per year toward grocery or restaurant delivery fulfilled via Grubhub. And this is for $10 credits each month, available as of March 1st, 2026. Then we have $60 per year of credits for Bilt 15-minute home delivery. That's up to $5 per month. Below that is $100 toward GoPuff Fam, which is their subscription service. And hey, if you can cover that annual fee with your Bilt Cash, that's cool, no problem with that. But then continuing on here, $300 a year of restaurant credit at select Bilt dining partners. Just the ones that are partnered with Bilt here. Then we have only via mobile dining checkout and 1 visit per month and up to $25. You can't make that any more restrictive, unless perhaps you say only Wednesday nights are eligible. And then perhaps the worst culprit of them all. This thing, the point accelerator on everyday spend. You can trade in or redeem your Bilt Cash to earn more points faster. But look at how this is worded. Enable plus 1x bonus points. In other words, earn 1 extra point per dollar. on all everyday spend for the next $5,000 following activation. Exclusively available only to Obsidian and Palladium card holders. The cost is $200 of Bilt Cash. You are limited to 5 activations per year, and all of this expires after $5,000 is spent or the calendar year ends. Who in their right mind has the capacity to remember all of these little boxed up restrictions? Certainly not me. Yet another option for you to use your Bilt Cash is to basically buy your way into earning points on your mortgage or your rent payment. So if you do that, up to 1 point per dollar here, unlock points on monthly rent or mortgage payments with no transaction fee. Every $30 of Bilt Cash redeemed earns 1,000 points, up to earning 1x of your monthly rent or mortgage payment. More on that specifically a bit later. Now, here's some more here. I'm not going to go over all of them, but as you can see, here's a travel and transportation category where you can trade in your Bilt Cash for stuff like rideshare credits, hotel credits, and things like that. We also have health and wellness categories and an other category as well. There are tons of ways to use your Bilt Cash, and I'm personally a fan of having a lot of choice for people. That way you're not boxing them into just 1 or 2 or 3 small options. But having too many choices can be overwhelming and almost paralyzing. And when a lot of them are really structured in a way to only allow up to 5 or 10 or 15 bucks per month, that's also really frustrating. Obviously not for Bilt and not for the merchants that they're partnered with, because they want us as their customers to keep going to the restaurants and the wellness spas and the biking classes and all that on a frequent basis. But if I had, say, 400 or 500 bucks of Bilt Cash all at once, I wanted to do one big redemption and be done with it, I simply can't do that in a lot of situations. Now we gotta talk about this. A massively failed product launch, in my eyes. I, like many of you, probably received this letter from Bilt's CEO. Over the past few days, I've spent a lot of time reading our members' emails, DMs, and notes. Many were thoughtful and passionate. Some were frustrated. All were fair. On one hand, there have been a record number of applications for the cards, and I'm excited for members to get them. However, I've also seen real and reasonable confusion about the new value proposition, and that right there is where Bilt 2.0 has failed. Amidst all the fanfare and hype around this, if consumers cannot properly understand the value proposition that you're proposing, you're gonna hit a brick wall. So further down on the letter, we saw this. With all that in mind, we are introducing a new, simpler option to earn fee-free rewards on rent and mortgage, now up to 1.25x on each payment, which opens the door to our next problem. We have 2 separate reward structures for double the confusion. Option 1 is the new option, and it does not have anything to do with Bilt Cash. This is a straight points earning play. Now, this video is not meant to be a mathematical calculation showing spreadsheets and what's better versus worse based on your spend, so you can pause this and look it over if it's new to you. Basically, the takeaway here is the more that you spend on the card for your everyday spend, non-rent, non-mortgage, the more points you can earn on your rent or your mortgage. And then we have option 2, which is the original plan, which was the points plus the Bilt Cash. Again, not going into the details of how it all works, but feel free to pause it to just read it over. By the way, as we discuss all these problems with Bilt 2.0, it reminds me of another problem I've been having: managing my entire world of finances. For the longest time, I felt like I was doing everything right. Paying off all my credit cards in full, paying down debts that I had at the time, and also saving to invest. But I still lacked true clarity. I had no easy way of knowing if I was making good progress toward my long-term goals, which made it really difficult to feel good about spending money. That's why Monarch, the sponsor of today's video, has become my personal money command center. Monarch syncs with over 13,000 institutions to give me super clean dashboards of all my financial accounts in one place, including brokerage accounts, savings and checking accounts, credit cards, and more. It's private, it's ad-free, and they don't sell your data. What I genuinely love is I can see not just my accounts, but also my income and expenses by category, a net worth tracker that does all of the math for me, and a monthly budgeting tool I can customize. And to help you cut down on that budget, Monarch recognizes recurring subscriptions that you may have forgotten about. All of this allowed me to enjoy saving, investing, and even spending without the guilt. That's because whenever I see nice charts and graphs that are simple to understand, it gives me confidence to see how my daily actions fit into a much broader picture. So if you'd like to trade financial clutter for financial clarity, you can get 50% off your first year with Monarch by using the link down below in the description or by adding the discount code REESE50 during signup. Let me tell you, feeling in control of your money with so little effort is amazing. Now back to the rest of the video. And that reveals yet another problem. The value is behind the math, so get your spreadsheets out. The comical thing here is that if I were to go to Google, which I did, here's a screenshot of my actual search, and I just started typing in Bilt and the number 2. The second most recommended option here, probably due to search volume, was Bilt 2.0 calculator. Why would that even be there being suggested by Google? Probably because a lot of people are searching for it. Fortunately, Max Miles Points put together a very nice, simple calculator here. I'll link it below in the description in case you want to play around with it to see which of the two reward structure options could be best for you. If you are more analytical and want to really deep dive into this type of stuff, Card also did their more, intricate type of calculator here with even more dials to play around with. So I'll put a link to this one as well below in the description. Always nice when you don't have to go build your own spreadsheet with formulas from scratch. Here's something else that I don't like. We now say goodbye to rent float. So basically buy now, pay now. Before moving on here, I must say buy now, pay now is a good thing, okay? You wanna have the money in your checking account to pay for the stuff you're going to buy. But floating a balance is not referring to carrying a balance and paying interest. With every credit card that you have this thing called a billing cycle. So when you charge something at the beginning of your cycle, you have about 30 days or so until your bill hits. Then when your bill hits, you have about 3 weeks or so before it's actually due. So during all that time when your billing cycle is active, and from the time you get your bill to when it's actually due, that's all a free grace period as it's called. You're not charged any interest during that time whatsoever. Now I saw a lot of people talking about how Bilt is now just drawing the payment for your mortgage through your bank account. I could not find that anywhere on the website when I was first putting stuff together, but everyone for some reason was talking about it. And that's when I saw that Bilt changed their website. So if you saw my first video about 9, 10, 11 days ago, this is the actual slide that I had in that video, which was taken directly from Bilt's website. It said, no preset spending limit on housing. Pay rent or mortgage without using your credit line, keeping your spending power available for everyday purchases. That was it. Nothing about how that worked or what they were doing to pull the magic strings behind the curtains to make that work. But now, here, a week and a half to 2 weeks later, that verbiage has been updated. So here's the after view. Now they've added the line, funds are pulled from your linked bank account. Meaning these several weeks of floating a balance on your card with no interest is now gone. Take a look at this next one. Bilt makes you buy Bilt points with Bilt Cash, if you choose option 2 with Bilt Cash as part of the reward structure. Under the points on rent and mortgage section on their website, it says, unlock points on monthly rent or mortgage payments with no transaction fees. Every $30 of Bilt Cash redeemed earns 1,000 points. So if you're paying $30 of this Bilt Cash currency to buy 1,000 Bilt points, that is $30 divided by 1,000 points times 100, you're paying 3 cents per point to get those points. Cool that you're not using actual earned income from your bank account to buy these points, but if I'm going to be earning rewards from a credit card, I want to use those rewards to go redeem for something I want or care about, not for the ability to go earn additional rewards in a different currency on the same product. Kind of sounds like a sneaky way for consumers to pay the 3% transaction fee, huh? Humor me for a moment here. Let's say you actually think having these two different types of currencies is actually cool. Awesome. Now, still be careful about the expiration policies of your cash versus your points because they actually have two separate expiration policies, so you want to beware. As for your points, well, your points don't expire as long as your account is open and active. That's a good, fair policy. No issues with that. And since we're talking about a broader rewards program, you think that would also apply to the Bilt Cash. But if you think that, you'd also be wrong. That's because Bilt Cash specifically earned during the calendar year expires at the end of that year. Although up to $100 of any unused Bilt Cash will automatically roll over into the next year. Nice. I do like the rollover approach, but $100, I could see a lot of people having $300, $400, $500 or more of Bilt cash, especially because you're earning at a rate of 4% on any of the 3 credit cards you choose on all of your non-home expenses. So when year end approaches, make sure that whatever Bilt cash you have, redeem it for at least something. Y'all ready for some more fine print? Here it comes. Bilt excludes certain purchases from earning rewards, that is, some of which are popular. Per the terms, the following purchases do not qualify as eligible purchases and do not earn Bilt points or Bilt cash. Now, a lot of these are totally valid. Balance transfers, special transfers, cash advances, cash withdrawals, so on and so forth. Where we see a bit of a bummer is here. Person-to-person payments such as Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, or Zelle. Also tax payments, except your property taxes because that's tied into the Bilt housing payments. For a good chunk of people who've got to make a bigger tax payment toward the end of the year, perhaps because they didn't have enough withheld throughout the year, or perhaps they're freelancers or independent business owners and they pay taxes quarterly, those can be nice payments in the thousands of dollars that could have been put through a card like this to earn some valuable points. But if those taxes are excluded, that's a pretty big loss. Now, as we're transitioning from Bilt 1.0 to 2.0, I've got to say that the transition was a disaster, at least for some people. Check out this growing thread on Reddit called "Bilt Card Transition is not seamless if denied customers are left without a card for a month." Why did that person say that? Well, because of this email that Bilt sent out back in early January. This was about all the pre-orders for their new cards, and as you read through it, it said, "Seamlessly upgrade to your new Bilt Card 2.0. Once pre-order opens, select your new card by January 30th to ensure a seamless upgrade." Yet, as we keep browsing through Reddit, we see people talk about their actual real-world experiences. This individual got denied, saying, "I was told my excessive obligations in relation to income were my denial reason." This person was also denied. Their credit score was 775 on Experian with no debt. They were a Bilt 1.0 user for 3 years with no issues. Their last inquiry was October 2025. That was not even a card, that was a car, automobile loan. Their denial reason was too many recent inquiries. Then this person, 776 credit score, $156,000 of available credit, 0% utilization, Bilt member for years, $95,000 a year at income, denied. They then received an email about the denial reason: delinquent past or present credit obligation with others. And they then reported there is nothing delinquent. Even Gary Leff, who's the owner of the View from the Wing blog, wrote about his experience, saying Bilt Palladium application didn't go as planned. He got a significantly smaller credit line than with his current Wells Fargo card, that was Bilt 1.0 that is. He actually got half of his credit line. Then he got a hard pull, and he also did not get an offer to close his Wells Fargo card, in other words, Bilt 1.0. As I read through all those, I remembered kind of mentally thinking how cool it was that Bilt was not going to have any sort of hard inquiry on the credit applications when you go from Bilt 1.0 to 2.0. I thought that was just going to be great. But what I was really thinking in my head was, oh, there won't be a newly opened account either. That's not the case. So Bilt was promising just a soft pull and then a newly opened account. I totally understand why it had to be that way because, again, Bilt 1.0 was Wells Fargo. Bilt 2.0 is now going to be issued by Cardless. Regardless though, me personally, I would not want a new inquiry or a newly opened account. So that was kind of disappointing for me, and even more so reading about other people's experiences not being able to transfer to Bilt 2.0 in a seamless way. In reality, it was quite far from that. This next thing bothered me a lot. In fact, it actually made my blood boil for a few minutes. Bilt cheated people out of the best welcome offer, unless you found and used one special link. Fortunately, someone on Reddit captured these screenshots before they were taken down. So for all 3 cards here, there was a TPG exclusive, that is the Points Guy. So their blog had the ability to earn 5 Bilt reward points per dollar spent on all purchases for the first 5 days of card membership, up to 50,000 points earned. That was true of the Bilt Blue Card, the Obsidian, as well as the Palladium. So only the link through the Points Guy's website gave the standard offer that everybody knew, plus the ability to earn 5 points per dollar on your everyday spend. Now, those links were taken down pretty quickly, but people who got in for the hours that they were available got in on a great deal. When I made my first Bilt 2.0 video, and also including this one, I didn't have any links available to me. But let's say that I did. I wouldn't even feel right about promoting them to you or anybody else, knowing that TPG had the best possible offer. That means all the other bloggers and YouTubers and influencers and affiliate networks and sites all would have inferior offers to just the points guy. And from my point of view, giving only one player in the space of credit cards the best offer really left a bad taste in my mouth and probably in hundreds of other people's too. Okay, so the main takeaway of all this here is that Bilt is simply too complicated, period. What I wanted, and I'm sure many of you wanted, was a card to earn points on rent. And we had that in a pretty great form with Bilt 1.0. But what I got with Bilt 2.0 was a card that earns points on rent if I use it for everything else. And that brings us to the big question. Who is Bilt good for? Well, as I'm seeing things right now, it's good for people who value travel rewards, who redeem via transfer partners for high value, can get strong value from the Palladium card specifically in year 1 or even beyond, people who have large monthly spend and who are willing to use a Bilt card for non-bonus spend, meaning the stuff that would only earn 1 point per dollar on other cards. Also people who want to use one card for everything, and for people who think with their emotions, which I admit I was a little bit guilty of on that first video that I made. Who then is Bilt bad for? Again, as I'm seeing things right now, Bilt would not be good for people who want free points on rent and mortgage, who value cashback rewards, who have small monthly spend, who are not willing to put non-bonus spend on a Bilt card, who want to use a Bilt card for one purpose, that is just for rent or just for mortgage as part of a broader card strategy. And is there any good value in the new Bilt program? Well, of course. I just mentioned a few situations where the Bilt program is actually still good. And don't forget, they still have fantastic transfer partners too. Some of the best airline options in the industry, and even have a couple of great hotel partners too. So what have I decided to do? Well, right now, nothing. The new Bilt Card 2.0 will officially go live on February 7th. I'm recording this video toward the end of January, so I'm going to let the official go live day completely go by. I'm not going to choose any card myself. I'm going to take a step back to be on the sidelines for a while. My old card, my Bilt 1.0 card, will be converted to a Wells Fargo autograph card, which will still be serviced by Wells Fargo. Obviously, I already have one, so then I'll probably have two, I'm assuming. And so my plan is to just call Wells Fargo and ask them if one of them can be product changed to perhaps the Wells Fargo Active Cash or maybe the Autograph Journey card. Something that I don't already have. For me, 2026 is all about simplification. I'm doing a lot of things right now behind the scenes in my personal life, in my business life, and in other areas that I'm just trying to streamline processes and get a whole bunch of junk out of the way so I can move forward in a much easier way. And I don't need an overly complicated rewards program pretty much running my life and feeling like a full-time job to manage. And to bring this video in for a nice landing here, I want to mention something that probably very few people actually have perspective on. So I want to bring it into the center light stage right now. And that is that Bilt's goal, as I see it, is not what we think it actually is. Their goal is to expand the Bilt Alliance network of apartments, homes, and all of their neighborhood partners. That is their retail partners, dining partners, lifestyle partners, and more. Growing that network will then position them to become the #1 player in the payment processing space for rent and mortgage. What leads me to believe all this? Well, just go to their website. They even have this on there right now where it says, earn points in rent and mortgage, unlock benefits in your neighborhood. And they've said many times over that Bilt is now trying to become the membership for where you live. So with this map here, they're showing, hey, refill your prescription at Walgreens, get some points on your rent, dine out at this restaurant, work out at this workout place, ride with Lyft. The more they build out this entire network and ecosystem of retail partners and of course all the payment portals through their major real estate partnerships that they have, that's going to drive a ton of transaction volume to make it profitable for them, not just simple credit card swipes for your $20 medication one time at Walgreens. And get this, they even said in one of their emails, for the roughly 15% of members who use the Bilt co-brand card. In other words, of all the people who've signed up for the Bilt program, only 15% actually have the Bilt credit card. So many of us forget about that as well. They're not a credit card company. This is so far beyond credit cards. Credit cards are the minority of what they do. In fact, again, they're not even a credit card issuer. Their 3 new credit cards are simply accretive or additive to their broader business model. And that means, yes, you and I can sign up for Bilt without having a Bilt credit card. Bilt's team even made that really clear in one of their earlier Reddit posts and replies here, where they said, you can automatically earn rewards and access exclusive benefits at home or in your neighborhood when you link any Visa, MasterCard, or American Express card to your Bilt account. That's in addition to your usual card rewards. When you link eligible cards to your Bilt account, you can automatically earn points at neighborhood dining restaurants when paying with any linked debit or credit card, in addition to your usual card rewards. You can also access exclusive rewards on Walgreens purchases and prescriptions, earn 2x points on Lyft rideshare, and get rewarded on fitness bookings. So while many of us were crying over the tragedy of the new Bilt credit card program, realize that there's a much bigger picture of a program going on here, and it's up to us to decide if we want to participate in that program now or in the future. Will I ever come around and go back to Bilt and maybe apply for one of the cards and engage further or at a higher level? Maybe, but right now, while I'm focused on more cashback rewards and simplifying my life, Bilt does not fit into either of those 2 categories. So it would be hypocritical of me to say I'm all in on Bilt when it doesn't make sense for my life at all right now. But for every season of your life, it's all about finding the right cards that reward you for where you spend and give you the rewards that you actually care about. If you find Bilt right for you, go at it. If you don't, there are plenty of other options out there. Before you all go though, be sure to check out the links down below in the description, one of which is to Rakuten, an awesome online portal giving you cash back whenever you shop on hundreds of merchants online, or you can actually switch your rewards from cashback over to Bilt points if you still like to get those, or even American Express membership rewards points. Also, if you want me to keep you in the loop about great credit card offers as they become available and before they expire, feel free to sign up for my credit card offer alerts. And of course, if you want a much better way to manage your money by budgeting, tracking your progress, and planning for the future, check out Monarch as well. I thank you all for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.